like Clark, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now, I know I've been gone for almost a week now, and a lot of you guys are probably wondering where I've been. I did make a post about it, but for those of you who didn't see it, basically I did get my wisdom teeth removed, so for like a couple days I could barely even talk, and my jaw was just in a huge amount of pain. But thankfully, everything's healed, so I'm a lot better now, so videos will be getting back to its regular schedule. And unfortunately, I don't really have any gameplay because I haven't been able to play this week, so I'm just going to use Wolfie's Cash Cup gameplay. Pretty entertaining, he's a pretty good player, so I definitely recommend you guys watch it and pay attention to this in the background. But basically, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what you should be practicing on in Fortnite as of right now, because basically there's kind of like this dull and dead spot until February-ish, or whenever they announce the next like competitive thing, where basically all there is these cash cups, which isn't that big of a deal. Like, the cash cups are nice little good money if you're top 20, and besides that, they just provide a little bit of practice. So basically what I'm going to be talking about is what you guys should be practicing right now, because you should not be wasting your time. This is the time to bear down, practice, so when the next big tournament, FNCS or World Cup, gets announced, you guys are already ready and you can just put in that much more time. So if you're looking forward to this video, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video. I will be replying to everyone's comments. Hit that subscribe button and use creator code WraithFN in the item shop. Let's get right into the video. So the first tip that you need to be practicing, or well, not tip, but the first thing you need to be practicing is basically you need to become a W key machine. So now the biggest thing that I personally think separates pro players between casual players or semi-competitive players is that their ability to win every single fight. And now a lot of you guys might be like, okay, well, obviously they win a lot of fights, but basically what I think about it is every single fight, whether they're at 25 HP, 200 HP, whether they have a shotgun or just an SMG or whatever the case is, they feel confident going in. And especially if they have really good health, really good mats, really good loot, they feel so confident going into every fight that they just have the ability to push every single person they see and feel extremely confident while doing it. Even sometimes myself, who's a pretty competitive player, finished top 100 in some cash cups, etc., etc., I think I'm a pretty good player, but sometimes even when I have good loot, if it's a big tournament or I'm not doing very good or I am doing really good, I get a little bit nervous and I don't want to W key as much, or I want to play a little bit more passive, which you can't think. Basically, you need to have the mentality that you could kill every single person in the lobby, and you need to be W keying. Like, for a perfect example, someone who I've been VOD reviewing and liking a lot recently is Unknown Army. He kind of reminds me of the controller player of like a Benji Fishy controller player, and he W keys everyone he sees until like top 30 people are left. Basically, every single person he sees, he W keys. Now, a lot of you people, or myself even, W keys people if they need kills or a certain scenario happens where they need mats or they deal a lot of damage or something like that, right? Not Unknown Army. Now, granted, he doesn't push into the storm or do stupid pushes, but whenever he's in zone or whatever the case is, he pushes everyone he sees. Now, granted, he has aim assist, so he can damage like 100 damage right off the bat with an AR, but even if he doesn't damage them, he's pushing and the other person normally just folds, gets nervous, or tries to box up, and he just gets clapped. So Unknown Army is a perfect example of someone you want to play like. So basically what I'd recommend doing is just W keying everyone you see in the games, whether it's arena, solos, or whatever the case is. Now, my next tip, or next thing you should be practicing on, is kind of just what I said, is basically playing better players. So now there's a couple things you can do about this. One is play more arena. Once you're in champions, the people are normally generally pretty good, so you can practice W keying in champions while kind of doing two birds with one stone and practice fighting against general better players, because basically if you're playing against better players, you're learning quicker instead of just W keying in solos and getting 18 kills, which does absolutely nothing to help you improve. But basically, like I said, fighting better players, whether it's in arena solos or you're playing box fighting or 1v1s in creative, I've talked about what to do and just generally how to improve against better players. But basically what I recommend doing is, like I said, W keying in arena solos or just box fighting. Those are probably the best ways to practice fighting good players. And if you don't have any friends or don't know how to find friends for box fighting, just literally look on Discord. There's tons of chats. You can use Atlantis, West Scrims. I'm not sure about European servers, but there are tons. You can just look them up, ask people, and you will find people to fight who normally are pretty good or pretty sweaty. The next thing you can spend your time on improving is just basically your overall mechanics. So I've made tons of videos about this plenty of times. Like, I mean, if you guys want to see a specific video on how to improve aim, editing, building, game sense, whatever, just let me know down in the comments below. But I've already made quite a bit about them. But if you, like I said, you guys want to see, just let me know down in the comments. But basically, there are tons of things that you could be improving on with your mechanics, whether it be playing Kovacs, playing creative aim courses, playing OSU, or for your editing, just doing editing, like free edits, whether you're in creative and just building and then editing your builds like Mongrel does, or edit courses, or 1v1s, or even whatever you want to do. Just figure out some ways of improving your mechanics, because this would be the time to become absolutely nutty and insane mechanically. A lot of the top tier players, I'd say probably about 80% of the pros, are all really gifted mechanically. About the other 20% just rely more on their IQ and position, etc, but obviously they're still very good mechanics. But use this time, like I said, to whether practice your aim, your editing, just practice your mechanics in general, because having really good mechanics will help you overall in the long run a ton. Now, this next tip or thing to practice is basically practice your rotating. Now, especially in this time of Fortnite, in Chapter 2, we don't know where the future is going to be, but as of right now, there is no basically mobility. Like, there's no launch pads, there's no shock waves, there's no shadows, nothing like that. So you basically got to completely use your IQ and rotation ability to rotate to zones, especially when it's moving zone or half in, half out zone, or even first to second zone. Like, it's very simple, but at the same time it's very complex, knowing when to rotate, where to rotate, how to rotate, when to build, when not to build when rotating. Like, there's just so many things that kind of factor in rotation abilities. But I've never really honestly made a video about how to rotate properly. I mean, I guess I can, like I said, if you guys want to see it. But generally, basically, the only ways you can improve rotating is, one, watch pro players and watch how they rotate, where they rotate. Like I said, do they rotate close to someone? Do they rotate the second zone appears? What do they do? Just watch them and learn from them. Another one is basically just play rotating games more. So, for example, like, play more scrims or whatever the case is. Like, figure out how to rotate, when to rotate, figure out when you're dying and when you're not dying, and then basically just keep doing what is working for you. Now, the last tip I'm going to do, and this is basically the best practice you're going to get as of right now, because there's no really big tournaments going on, is basically play cash cups. Like, some people just rage or don't play them at all because they're not going to finish top 20 or whatever the case is. I don't know. But you may as well spend your time. Like, it is still a good way to improve. It is a tournament, somewhat tournament settings. So personally, I recommend playing it. You may as well, like I said, you're not really getting worse playing the cash cups. Yeah, they might be frustrating, but overall you are getting better. And actually focus when you're playing the cash cups to not rage and focus on being more calm, because the two biggest things I see people struggle with in big tournaments is either they rage and get upset or think they're not going to do good so they quit. And then number two is basically just get nervous and not remain calm during their fighting or during like the game in general, or even when they're landing, they just get nervous, they get butterflies. So basically these cash cups more just focus on remaining calm, getting in that tournament mindset where you don't get nervous anymore, and then basically focus on not raging. And trust me, that will help your competitive gameplay for a long time, not just in Fortnite, but any game you play. But But that's basically it for today's video. Like I said, it wasn't anything too specific, just some general knowledge you guys can use. If you want to see any videos, let me know in the future. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and make sure you use creator code WraithFN in the item shop. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.